I adore simple pleasures. They are the last refuge of the complex. As adults, we all have busy lives. We got a ton of things going on. But reading that quote made me think, there's something to be said about keeping things simple, keeping things straightforward, and keeping things easy. We all have complex lives with an array of different things going on. But we should be able to have some things in our lives that are simple, things we're able to do without even thinking of them. And that kind of is my thought process with the way I cook. I like food that tastes great, clean flavors, and letting the ingredients speak for themselves. When you're cooking breakfast, you really don't have time to go to the store to get exotic ingredients or have hours on hours of time to prepare grand meals. You have kids or your husband or your wife saying, hey, I'm hungry, what's for breakfast? So you go in your refrigerator and you see what you have. That might be eggs, bacon, leftover sausage, some pancake mix. So you kind of figure out what you want to do and make it great and delicious for your family and your friends. So in the kitchen, don't worry about being so complex and worried about doing grand recipes. Just keep it simple and keep it delicious. Hi, I'm Chef Troy Ellis, and welcome to Morning Inspirations. There's nothing like getting up to the smell and the preparation of breakfast being made or going to your favorite restaurant for brunch. I have to admit, as a chef, I love breakfast. Now, I love all kinds of food and making all kinds of food, but breakfast, that's my favorite. So today, we're going to prepare a delicious breakfast meal that everyone was going to love. So today, we're going to do an andouille sausage, potato, and leek hash, and alongside that, a creamy spinach scrambled egg with a little fresh grated Parmesan Reggiano, some shallots, and a little cream cheese to add a little touch of creaminess. So when we get back, we're going to get started. Welcome back. So on the cutting board here, we have our andouille sausage. It's a native sausage from Louisiana. It's used in a lot of Cajun and Creole cuisine. It's got a nice smoky flavor. It's got a nice little bite to a little peppery taste. So it's really good with a hash, so it gives a nice little balance of flavor. So what I'm going to do is dice this up and then add it to our pan, and then we'll come back and dice up all the rest of our accompaniments. You want to keep these in nice diced pieces so that keep a uniform size with our potatoes that we're going to dice in a second. So we're now going to take this over in our bowl over to our saute pan, because what we want to do is just render out some of that delicious fat that's going to be used to cook our potatoes and our leeks and our garlic. So I'm just going to add this to our bowl. It's got a little bit of olive oil in here. You start to hear some of the sizzle. All we want to do is just cook this a little bit, just render out some of that fat. So now what we want to do is just clean up our cutting board and our knives so we can go ahead and cut up our veggies. All right, so now what we want to do is just dice up our potatoes. We have some simple Idaho russet potatoes. You can use any potato that you would like, Yukon Gold, Red, Bliss, Fingerling, but I like just a universal Idaho russet, which you have in your house. So we're just gonna dice these up real quick. What I want to do, all I'm doing is just to square it up and make an even cut. I just take off the little edges off the side of the potato and the bottom of the potato so it lays flat, and that way you can make nice uniform cuts. And the hash is just something that you put together, usually with potatoes. That is something you just put a lot of different things in one pot. Give it a little quick saute. It's absolutely delicious. You can definitely use any kind of protein you want. You know, I love andouille, but you can use, you know, sage, you can use regular breakfast sausage, whatever you have in the pantry will do just fine. And anything you want to add, so if you don't want to use leeks, you don't have to. You can use regular onions, you can use shallots, whatever you know you really want to use, you can do that. You can hear our andouille sausage is cooking nicely over there, browning, and they're after that fat. And to that, we're going to add our potatoes because we want those to be cooking soon. And then we'll chop up our leeks and everything. And we also have some fresh shiitake mushrooms that we're going to cut off the stems, wash them off, and slice up the caps and use that as well. It's got a nice earthy, nutty flavor to go with it. Okay, our potatoes are now diced. We're going to add it to our andouille sausage. Give it a quick toss. All right, we'll let that go. Adjust our heat a little bit. Now it's time to get our mushrooms and our leeks done. So now that our sausage and our potatoes are sauteing, we want to add the rest of our hash. So what we have here is 1 leek. I'm going to use the stalk. You can still use these. Don't throw anything out in the kitchen. You can always use to be something else. Sometimes I use these to fry them up for a garnish, but you can use them, you know, to saute just as well. But I just want the stalk right now. So what I'm going to do is take this off, put that there, and then I'm going to rinse this off. Leeks need to be rinsed and cleaned real quickly. Sometimes you'll get dirt and debris in them, so you just want to make sure you clean them out real nice. So what we're going to do is just cut off our end here. What I want to do is just put it right down the middle, and then I'm just going to slice it like that. Leeks and potatoes, classic combination, very delicious together. A very famous cold soup is called a vichyssoise. It's a potato and leek soup. So I thought this would just be a nice, you know, twist compared to using onions, you know, traditionally. So we have our leeks here. So what we want to do now is add that to our hash. So get one of our bowls. Actually, we can just take it right on over here like this. And add that to our hash. We don't want to leave anybody out of the party, so we're going to add that as well. As you can see, everything is cooking nicely. We just want to give it a quick stir. I love cooking with cast iron. Has a nice, you know, smoke point. You can really cook things nice and evenly in it, so I like using it. Right now, it's coming together nice. The potatoes are starting to, our sausage is caramelized. The potatoes are starting to get a little tender. We'll let our leeks cook down. So now we're going to go back, slice up our shiitake mushrooms. All right, so now we got some fresh shiitake mushrooms that we're going to rinse and wash off. The mushrooms are dirty, so we're going to make sure you get all the dirt off of them. Then we're going to take the stems off, slice them up, and add them to our hash. Then we're going to season a little salt, pepper, add a little bit of minced garlic, and then all we're going to do is just let it cook and let all the flavors meld together. So we're going to rinse them off real quick. And what I like to do is just take individual mushrooms, cold water, and just rinse it off. Make sure there's no dirt, debris on the top or the bottom. Mushrooms have a lot of water content in them, so you don't want to get them too wet because they're going to release a lot of water anyway. So there we go. Take them back over to our cutting board. So what we want to do is just take the stems off and then just simply slice them like so. I am a big mushroom fan. In all foods, but especially with breakfast. So a lot of my food, you know, whether I'm doing a hash or I'm doing a quiche or a baked egg dish or anything, I love adding mushrooms. They have a nice nutty flavor that really works well with breakfast. And also, don't be afraid to be creative with breakfast. Don't be afraid to try different proteins, things that are not traditional, because sometimes that's where the most, you know, delicious food comes from, trying things that you didn't think would go together or don't think would taste good in the morning. So that's one thing we're going to do in Morning Inspirations, kind of push the envelope a little bit and see where we can take breakfast to. Now that our mushrooms are nice and sliced, take them over to our pan. There we go. So as you can see, our hash is cooking nicely. Now we just want to fold, just continue to fold. Now be careful not to, as your potatoes become a little more tender, I do more of a fold. I don't really want to do more of a stir because you can break your potatoes, break your sausage up. So you want everything to still, you know, kind of, when you plate it, to still have some nice shapes to it. So that's why we just gently fold it together. There we go. What I have here is just a little bit of minced garlic that we're just going to add, not a ton, just a little bit, just to give a little bit of that lovely garlic flavor to our hash. There we go. All right, so now this is coming together. We're going to get started on our creamy spinach eggs. So we'll let this go, get all our stuff out of our fridge for that, and we'll be right back. So welcome back. Our hash is over there. So what we're gonna do is get ready for our creamy scrambled eggs with spinach and shallot. So what we have is some fresh baby spinach that I've rinsed here. I have one shallot that I'm going to mince. We have some eggs, and a little secret ingredient, a little cream cheese. The cream cheese is going to give our eggs a nice, fluffy, creamy texture and consistency. So what I'm going to do right now is mince this shallot, and then what we're going to do is head over to our saute pan with a little olive oil and saute our shallots and our spinach. And then once we get that all together, then we'll come back, whisk our eggs, add our cream cheese, and then we'll be checking on our hash in between, and then we'll be ready to plate this thing up. All right, so now we're gonna just take our shallots to our saute pan over here that we've got going with a little bit of olive oil. Okay, we got our shallots in there. There you go. While these shallots are, what we're gonna do is just adjust the seasoning on our hash real quick. Just add a little pinch of kosher salt. A little bit of fresh black pepper. And this is about ready to go. As you can see, the leeks and the mushrooms have cooked down nicely. Our potatoes are fork tender, but still keeping their shape. And our sausage has a nice little caramelization on it. This is gonna go great with our spinach, our creamy spinach eggs. All right, so now that our shallots are cooking, we want to add our baby spinach that's been rinsed. If you don't get all the measurements and things like this, all these recipes will be found on crazygoodfoodtv.com, so you can try these at home. So we just want to wilt our spinach real quick. Doesn't take very long. Check our heat. Then we're gonna start in a wheel. There we go. While that's cooking, we're gonna go back over here, get our eggs whisked up, add our cream cheese, and be ready to go to add them to our spinach. So right now, we're back over here, gonna crack our eggs, and then we're gonna add our cream cheese. Old shell right there. We're gonna use 4 eggs. If you're cooking for a lot of people, this recipe really calls for 2 eggs per person. So if you got 4 people, that's 8 eggs. So what we're gonna do is, we got our eggs in here. What we're gonna do now is add our softened cream cheese. Now that our cream cheese is incorporated, we're gonna take it over to our pan with our wilted spinach and shallots and get to scramble on our eggs. And when scrambling eggs, you want to constantly keep them moving. You don't want them to sit still. So we just want to, you can see the little bits of cream cheese in there. So our eggs are almost done. What I like to do with scrambled eggs as I continue to keep them moving is once they get about set, I turn my heat off and I let the hot pan finish cooking them. That's how you continue to keep a very soft and moist egg. As you can see, it's got the beautiful spinach and shallot in there. So we're just gonna let this finish cooking. We're gonna hit it with a pinch of salt, a little bit of ground black pepper, and then just a hit of some freshly ground Parmesan or Reggiano. It's gonna add a nice little nutty flavor to our eggs. And there you go. So now our eggs are done, our hash is done. I'm gonna clean up, get our plate out, and be time to plate it up and eat. So now that our eggs are done and our hash is done, it's time to plate it up. Everybody knows you eat with your eyes first, so you want to make it look nice and beautiful, so when people eat it, it tastes just as good as it looks. So you just take a little bit of our hash and make a nice little plate in the middle. A little bit more andouille sausage. All right. So we grab our eggs. Nice and creamy. We're just gonna put a nice little dollop right next to our hash. What I like to do with our eggs here is just finish it off with just a little bit more fresh Parmesan or Reggiano. So here we have it, our beautiful andouille sausage potato and leek hash, our creamy spinach and shallot eggs with scrambled eggs with our little bit of cream cheese for that nice fluffy and creamy texture. Again, these recipes can be found on crazygoodfoodtv.com. Thank you guys for joining me today. I'm Chef Troy Ellis, and this has been Morning Inspirations, and I hope I inspired you.